Welcome to Stay Wavy TV. Enjoy and ride the wave.
Breaking news, y'all. A fight has officially been announced by the PBC between David the Mexican Monster Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez. This fight will take place on May 2nd on a Saturday. This is a PBC pay-per-view event on Prime Video, and it will take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying? This is David Benavidez's debut at the Cruiserweight division, and I'm surprised that David is moving up the Cruiserweight so quick, because he only had like 3 or 4 fights at light heavyweight, right? He just got his first KO at light heavyweight against Anthony Yarde, and I'm surprised that he's already moving up the Cruiserweight. David must be having some issues making 175 because, you know, he blows up in weight when he's not in fight camp. So I guess David wants to be able to eat how he want to eat and not have to cut that much weight for fight time. So this is interesting, man. So let's get into both fighters. So David Benavidez is 31-0. Zurdo Ramirez is 48-1. He only has 1 loss to Dimitri Bivol. And David Benavidez, he's 6'2". Zurdo Ramirez is 6'2.5". David has a 74.5-inch reach. Zurdo Ramirez has a 75-inch reach. David is an orthodox. Zurdo is a southpaw. David is 29 years old, and Zurdo Ramirez is 34 years old. So this is a good match, man. We are going to see, can David Benavidez hang with the big dogs in the Cruiserweight division? Now, I'm going to be honest, man. I wish David was fighting Jay Opetaia. I think Jay Opetaia is a much bigger threat than Zurdo Ramirez. As a matter of fact, Zurdo Ramirez has been ducking Jay Opetaia. I don't like the fact that he's been ducking Jay Opetaia when Jay Opetaia and Zurdo Ramirez, they could have been unified at Cruiserweight. They could have been put both of their belts on the line and unified a division. But instead, Zurdo was taking a fight with David, and this is David's first fight. But I get it, right? David Benavidez is the bigger name. David Benavidez, he definitely, you know, is a bigger name in the sport of boxing than Jay Opetaia. Now, will David Benavidez's power translate to Cruiserweight? Because when you look at David's first 2 fights at 175, the first fight was against, what's the guy's name? Guavsdick, right? Pause. The first fight was against a guy named Guavsdick, and it didn't look like David's power translated in that fight, but David claims that he had, you know, hand injuries in that fight. But even in this second fight against David Morrell, a guy who didn't even have that much professional fights yet, David Morrell had a pretty decent performance against David Benavidez. He dropped David Benavidez, and David Benavidez was unable to knock out David Morrell. It wasn't until David's third fight against Anthony Yarde where he finally got a stoppage at the light heavyweight division. So you're going up to Cruiserweight after only having 3 fights at light heavyweight, and you're going in there with a guy that is already adjusted to that weight class, right? Zurdo Ramirez is a big dude. Now, even though these guys are the same height, you know, Zurdo, you know, he's already adjusted to the Cruiserweight, you know, division. Can David handle the punches at Cruiserweight? Is David going to have trouble, you know, handling the punches that's going to be coming at him from Zurdo Ramirez? We got to wait and see for that. But I do wish that we was getting David versus Jay Opetaia, man. Jay Opetaia, I think, is the biggest threat at Cruiserweight, and I think he's the biggest threat to David Benavidez. I also think Arthur Beterbiev would give David Benavidez some problems, but let's be honest, guys. Arthur Beterbiev is like 40-something years old, and he's in the last chapter of his career, right? Dimitri Bivol also would be a good fight with David Benavidez, and David is planning to fight both Arthur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol if he successfully gets past Zurdo Ramirez. So, you know, we can still look forward to those fights happening. But I like this fight. I like this fight. I like the fact that David is not waiting around for anybody, right? Supposedly Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol are having their 3rd trilogy fight this year. So instead of David just waiting for them to have their fight, David Benavidez is staying active. Not only is he staying active, he's moving up another weight class to just, you know, to test himself even more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to give credit when it's due, man. Like, You know, David really wanted that Canelo Alvarez fight. He really wanted to show everybody that he was better than Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez wanted no parts of fighting David Benavidez. And unfortunately, Terrence Bud Crawford was able to beat Canelo before David was, because Canelo just didn't want to fight David. So, I love the way that David is handling his boxing career. I love the fact that he's constantly challenging himself. And I think David Benavidez has the chance to be the next face of boxing. When Canelo hangs it up and retires, as of right now, I think there's only two guys that, really have the chance to be the face, and that's obviously Gervonta Tank Davis and David Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? You do have guys like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, but I don't think David and Shakur's boxing styles, I don't think that's going to get casual boxing fans into the sport of boxing. People, they want to see somebody get knocked out, right? That's why people love Gervonta Tank Davis. That's why people love David Benavidez, because when you watch these guys, there's a high possibility that they're going to knock out their opponent, okay? I don't think fans are interested in finding out who the next Floyd Mayweather is, right? Devin Haney and Shakur, those guys constantly get compared to Floyd Mayweather, but the fans don't want to see the next Floyd Mayweather. They want to watch boxing, and they want to see a guy put it all on the line and go for the knockout every fight. So shout out to David, man. I look forward to seeing this fight on May 2nd. Let me know what you guys think about it. Who do you guys got winning this fight between Zurdo and David Benavidez? Let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Wavy, Stay Wavy TV. Make sure y'all subscribe, hype the video, and most importantly, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm out.
Welcome to Stay Wavy TV. Enjoy and ride the wave. Welcome to Stay Wavy TV.